What's up for a nightcap? Chill, you know, kick back.
Welcome to the Nightcap. It's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and tonight we're discussing male pleasure. Do we know exactly what pleases a man? We think we do. We hear all about it. Is it the beer? Is it the cooked meal? Is it a blowjob? Well, we've got some friends here to discuss. Let's get into it.
Energy.
You was on stop mode, got froze, front page Vogue, no pause, chat too much, go clip unload, that's that Kodak energy, yeah.
Oh, that's quite a drug, I do say so myself. I'm here with them. We've got Charlie and Arienne and also our friend Scott Shunk on the couch. But we know all about Scott. You've been here before, boo-boo. But you guys are sex therapists and a couple, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
This is the kind of content people can find on your social media.
Yeah, we don't hide very much.
No?
We don't.
So, no.
We have a belief that you have to be, if we're going to represent ourselves to our client, if we tell them to be more open about sex, we have to be the same. You can't teach something you don't know.
That you don't know and don't showcase, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Before we get into the male pleasure, which I know you guys know all about, how was that journey into showcasing sex on social media?
I would say initially as a female, it was a transition for me at first. But then I fell into it with him and I just love it now.
It was difficult along the way for me because of course we have children, okay? So we've got a crew of kids. One of the difficult things about social media is that there are comments that are made. You've got family involved. You're in touch with people that you typically don't want to be in touch with. Think about the people you graduate with that you said, I'm never going to see these people again. Well, now all of a sudden they're your friends.
Oh,
and,
really?
you know, out of the blue, they know you now.
Oh.
And representing ourselves, we wanted to kind of we've always practiced being authentic. And
it seems as though there's a lot of people that don't see a person as that they can be both professional and sexual.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Scott, you left the professional life.
I really did. From MIT to OnlyFans.
It's a beautiful transition. And you also have a son. So what is it difficult to maneuver the dad thing and
No, it's you know, my boys are, I mean, I don't get into it deeply with the boys. My older boy is aware that I have a fans page. And you know, he knows who his father is. Yeah, I'm not going to be anything other than an authentic, you know, dad to him. So I can't, I'm not going to try to hide stuff. I just don't do subterfuge.
You'd be amazed at what kids don't want to know when it comes to your bedroom. So,
I imagine they don't want to know anything.
Exactly.
I don't know. They're like, la 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 la. And our parents are sex
But we are discussing sex and male pleasure. I mean, pleasing women, I feel, is like what is being taught all the time, and that it's so easy to please a man. What's it like? Is it just physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional?
I think it's as complex, because I think one of the things that happens with men is that when we're younger, you take a 5-year-old boy, your 5-year-old girl, they scrape their knee. Typically, you ask the young lady what she's feeling, how she's feeling. Come here, and with the boy, you typically tell him to put some dirt on it. Don't communicate about what you're feeling. So as we grow older, men don't communicate the same way that a lot of the times that women do, because we haven't received the invitation.
Right.
So when it comes to us getting older and expressing intimacy, we're like 4th graders, still putting some dirt on it, saying that we like to bang around and we don't like to learn what we like, because the only thing that we're trying to do is establish the path to an orgasm.
When sex moved from, you know, if first, you know, I want to pop, then to, you know, I want this to be like theatrical, this is going to be porn, I'm going to go through these 6 positions and, you know, and I'm going to look great doing this.
Yes.
To, I had a moment where I'm intimate with a woman, I have my hand on her, we're kissing, and I realized that what was happening to us, between us mentally with the kiss, had so much more to do with the pleasure than what was happening physically with our hands on each other's genitals. And that was where I understood the difference between just what sex was and what intimacy and real connection was, and how much that enhanced everything. About sexual interaction and about connection and just being human.
That intimacy, that rare and raw intimacy.
Yeah.
And what are you guys seeing with your patients? Like, are you finding that it takes a moment like what Scott went through to really realize, oh, I've been doing sex wrong this whole time and finding pleasure the wrong ways and the wrong avenues?
I think a lot of times in every patient, every group is different. We get to do it as a couple. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll meet, if it's a cisgender couple, I'll meet with the male, you'll meet with the female. And we'll meet with them twice. We'll meet them together, then we meet with them individually twice, separately. And when we bring them back together, we notice that they are communicating things differently than they did the first session. Because it's difficult to be honest over a period of time when you've been with somebody for a while. It can be difficult to tell them what you like, what you need, because you're constantly evolving as a human being. A lot of times we like to meet someone and keep them the same person that we meet when we first meet them. And then in 12 years from now, we're saying, well, I know what their favorite things are, but it's been 12 years. How many of us change in 12 years?
Right.
We all do. But in a relationship, sometimes partners can feel threatened hearing that their partner may all of a sudden like to get oral sex this way. Well, in 10 years from now, I like it this way.
The dance is so choreographed.
It is.
And it
It
never,
really
you know,
is.
it doesn't evolve. And I think to your point of the fear, when someone's like, hey, you know, can you put your finger in my ass? That's going to scare the hell out of someone.
Right.
With unexpected. So.
And especially, and I feel like even the person asking might even be scared bringing it up to their partner that they've had for a long time, and then they get that rejection. It must be so hard. All right, so we're gonna have to talk about ways to actually introduce new things with your couple or your partner. But first, we have Veronica out in the streets because she's doing a V Can't with TJ Birria Tacos y Más. You gotta check that out. Stick around.
Yes, I am at the table with owners Jesse and Sandy here at TJ Birria y Más. And they're gonna talk to me about their beautiful, great establishment, right, y'all?
Right, that's right.
And y'all, let me tell y'all, these people know how to party. They got a band here, they got a DJ here, and they got all these customers and good food. And I cannot wait to dive in. But first things first. So Jesse, tell me, how was TJ Birria born?
Sandy here had the brilliant idea of wanting to try these tacos that were popping all over Instagram.
Yeah.
So it took me the job to, create these tacos for her.
Yes.
After having her approve and the rest of the family, we decided to sell them.
Yeah.
So we started selling these birria tacos out of the backyard of our house. The first weekend we sold out within 1 hour. Second weekend was second hour, and so on.
And if y'all hadn't figured it out, Jesse and Sandy, your husband and wife team. Isn't that sweet? I just love love.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get into this food, y'all. Okay, so I want one of y'all to walk me through. What am I eating?
As simple as black and white.
Okay.
This is the Hispanic version of a pot roast.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Okay.
You get your meat, you get your au jus,
okay,
which is our consommé.
Okay.
And there's no wrong or right way to eat it. You just have fun with it, okay? So you can either dunk it, you can sip it. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can glaze it all over your tacos.
Yes.
There's no wrong or right way to have it.
Here we go, guys. I'm gonna do a nice dip and eat. I can taste a good spice in it. It's really delicious.
That's right.
It's well seasoned.
That's right.
It's good in my tummy, y'all. I'm gonna add some little salsa verde.
There you go.
Did I say that right? Salsa verde?
Oh, you good.
Okay. I didn't say it right there.
You go with green, salsa green. Nah, you're good. You're doing good.
This ramen. Yeah. My eyes look
Let me
so
help you here a
open.
little bit, Veronica.
I was like a deer caught in the headlights when I saw this right here. Because I'm like, what is this deliciousness, y'all? And I love me a good ramen noodle, so I think it's going to be an interesting
You can also doctor it up, onion and cilantro, up to
Really?
choice.
Okay.
A lot of people prefer like red salsa to kind of kick it up a notch.
Okay, we're gonna pick it up.
That's
how we
optional.
gonna pick it up
That's
a notch. That's
optional.
what we gonna do, okay?
Be careful though. Be careful what you wish for
Okay.
though.
That's okay. We like a little spice.
Well, you might
That
have a little
good?
bit. You might want to start with a little bit, just
Okay.
because it could
I'ma
get
take
spicy.
your advice.
It could get spicy.
Okay, you running this
That's
thing.
made with fresh cayenne pepper, so yeah,
Oh, yeah.
a little fire in
We like a
there.
little spice life, like a nightlife. Put it on in. This definitely beats some regular ramen noodles, y'all. This is so good, seriously. I love this sauce and I love that kick. Got a nice little boom to it. This is good. I'm gonna take me another bite.
There you go.
Yeah, this is really good. Look at this.
Veronica, this.
So what kind of meat is this?
Birria.
Birria.
Oh, birria. So
meat.
it's a birria ramen. Yep.
Y'all make sure y'all order this when y'all come and y'all tell them these sent y'all. See? They're gonna take care of y'all.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna continue eating, and you continue keeping your TV on the Nightcap. We'll be right back.
Yeah. So seductive. I take you to the king.
With one hand, just a bottle of bourbon. Is that true? Well, we've been discussing male pleasure with my friends Scott, Arienne, and Charlie. Is it really just a bottle of bourbon? Absolutely not, right? No. We got to do a little bit more.
Yeah. She makes me an old-fashioned before bed every night, but she also comes to bed naked. So the old-fashioned and naked thing works. Yeah, it works out.
All right, so we've discussed like the mental and emotional work that men have to do to really find what actually pleases them beyond just the physical stuff that they find in porn and they learn about on social media or wherever. What does the woman have to do to help with that as well? Because I feel like it's not just a personal journey. If they have a partner, that there's a role that's played there.
I think the level of investment that a woman has is pretty important. Understanding what men look like. I think that, like to kind of key in on what Scott was saying, our perfect intimate spectrum starts around 4 or 5 years old. We feel highs and we feel lows. Okay, when we're sad, we cry. When we're happy, we laugh, right? As we go on through life, something happens with that emotional spectrum where it starts to come closer and closer together because somebody's telling you not to cry, because when you cry, it makes people uncomfortable. When you laugh too loud, it makes people uncomfortable. So what we do is your emotional spectrum goes from here to here. And when that happens, something sets in called alexithymia. We become emotionally numb. And that becomes popular because, like what Scott was saying too, we start looking for something. Our brain still craves that kind of high and low. So we start looking for that pop, that dopamine pop that gets us that high. Well, women that have a tendency, and I can say this not just because she's sitting next to me and she gives me great sex, but I can say this, is she has an understanding of how the male brain works and how to massage me through that need for the dopamine high. And she in time, she showed me another dopamine high that was tied to intimacy, because these highs and lows are what I needed. Longer periods of sex are what I needed. Longer periods of intimacy are what I needed. Not what I was seeing on TV and porn. I like the porn positions. I like the porn, the visuals, the theatrics. But man, there's something else going on emotionally that if men would tie into it and investigate it, we'd have a much better time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, I've certainly experienced where there can be a level of trepidation or fear in the woman, to experiment, doesn't want to cross a line. And part of the job of any couple in any relationship is to really just let intimacy flow, let the experience and the experiment. If it's something that causes someone to be uncomfortable, explore what that is. But to get to a point where it's play. At one point I remember something happening and it was like, why am I not doing this right? And there was this total sort of kickback. It was like, no, you're doing everything perfectly, but can we try this? This is going to be something new. Recently I had an experience where it was like, I was with this woman and she was, she was performing oral on me, and it was great. And then she just jumped up and then started making out with me and finished me off with a handy, and it was ridiculously hot. I mean, it was like she just like that intimate connection of the kissing, and like this sort of really great action with her. It was just so incredibly hot, just unexpected, and she was ready to fly. It was just it was amazing.
I think a lot of women have this idea in their head of what they think men want, that is very inaccurate. So they think the only thing I need to do is be naked, and your dick should be hard. Or all I have to do is grab you, and you should get an erection. And if you're not, something's wrong with you, or something's wrong with us. So there's a big misconception with not all women, but a lot of women as far as how to arouse a man.
And
Completely
it goes beyond just the touch, beyond
Completely
just showing up
agree.
naked.
I think that's very true. I think a lot of women show up like it's like this isn't enough.
Right.
You know, my pussy's not enough.
Yeah.
You know, look at it.
And especially over time. We were discussing this earlier, where it's like, you know, what worked for the first 10 years isn't what's going to work for the next 5, 6. So how do you, as partners, evolve over time and have those honest and vulnerable conversations of like, this isn't doing it for me anymore?
There's ebbs and flows in every relationship. So there will be times where you have a lot of sex, and then maybe times where you're not. But that's not what you're describing. You're describing, you know, that steady decline, right? Where just everything's getting really stagnant.
The dance is always the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we know exactly the steps. Like, we could even find a shortcut probably because we know the dance so well.
We say it to each other. We say it to each other like, hey, look, the one thing I've always appreciated with her is that we can actually talk to each other and say, hey, look, we've been doing this for 2 years. Can we change it up? We typically have sex twice a day. But there will be times with kids where I know that second time in the day will be routine. We'll turn around and say, hey, look, this is routine. Let's do this differently.
Still happy to get it though.
Still happy to get it too, but damn. We'll go to a bookstore and we'll say, hey, look, we're gonna have sex in this bookstore. And people are like, oh my God, what the hell are you talking about? Well, this is a place, we like consensual exhibitionism. We like ethical exhibitionism. All of a sudden you're adding fire to your relationship in ways that we started dressing the way that we first met because that's the fire.
I think it's also important to for couples to understand that just because it's a fantasy, it doesn't mean it's reality.
No.
And it doesn't have to come in fruition, but it's really important to communicate if this is something you're considering, that you've noticed that you have a physical response that arouses you, that you should probably communicate so that you can share that with your partner, because they're probably hiding something from you as well
Exactly.
in that situation. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who doesn't want a car at Starbucks?
Right.
There you go.
But we got to say that.
You got to
if we're
say
gonna
it.
Get it.
You have to say it out loud. Sex is so important to our relationship. We have a lot of sex. 2 terabytes of Dropbox. In our Dropbox says that we have a lot of sex because we tape it a lot. We
You
enjoy
tape it?
Oh yeah,
And do you guys watch it back?
We do.
we watch it back like crazy. Because she's become, in a lot of ways, she's become my porn.
So I think taping sex, taping your own sex is amazingly hot. I don't watch porn at all, but I will watch sex that my sex anytime.
Really?
And it's hot, so
is so
hot,
hot.
and it turns me on.
Yeah.
A lot of that's autoerotica because I like looking at me. But no.
Same here. Same here.
Is it because you play it back and you guys know where you were and what you were feeling at that
Oh my God,
time?
I know
Yes.
what it smells like, tastes like, and feels like.
Right.
Yeah, I can definitely connect to it. And I love watching him. That's a big turn on for me, just to see him in any position.
Wow. All right, this is getting hot. All right. Well, we need a quick break, baby. Stick around because the conversation continues and we heating up, baby. We heating up. Welcome back to the Nightcap. We've been discussing male pleasure, from the emotional, the mental, and the communication that's needed to achieve it. But now we're going to talk more physical because we got a little bit into it earlier with my friend Charlie, Arienne, and Scott. So we were talking about watching your own porn back. How often are you guys actually having sex in a week?
A week. That's
Okay, a day?
That's a big number. What would you
That's
say?
a big number, a day?
20 times a week?
Yeah.
20 times a week?
20 times a
Okay.
week. Yeah.
About
It's always in the morning, it's always at night, and then we try to get it in during the day.
Try. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, what are you looking at?
I
when your partner does?
have sex every day.
Every
Yeah,
day.
every day.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's
how
nothing like
important
having
is it, do you feel, for your mental health and physical health to be having sex that often?
It's something that if we miss a day or two, I think that I know we'll start asking each other. I know I'll say, are we okay? Emotionally, I need it, not just for the dopamine release, but for the power exchange. We play a lot with kink.
Yep.
And the one thing that I had a mentor once tell me, he said, if you give a woman a graduate degree and a 6-figure salary, she'd probably make different relationship decisions. So I've got a woman that has a graduate degree and makes a 6-figure salary at a period of time for 7-figure salary. And she gets to call me, she calls me daddy. So turning around and doing that power exchange because she's decided to be a submissive in this role and told me the things that she likes, all of a sudden it becomes not just a great responsibility, but it becomes sexy as hell.
Scott, what is it for you?
I think this there's a really important notion. There's the stereotype that men need to know they're connected to a woman and that they're accepted by her because she's having sex with him. She's giving him sex. And then women need to know that they're loved by the man because he's doting her with attention. And I think that abuts the relationship a lot. Men, they're like, she's not banging me, she doesn't love me. And he's like, he's not showing me any affection, he doesn't love me. And so they're like, the sex is lacking. And I think the notion of just having a lot of sex wants sex.
Yeah.
People need to really, really get that point home. Sex wants sex. Yeah. Sex gets sex. If you have a healthy sexual relationship with your partner, you will be having a lot of sex. You need to work on it. And like any other aspect of the communication in the relationship, you need to work on it.
So, well, if you want to achieve that level of intimacy and male pleasure, well, you better open up, do the work, communicate, and really find that spot, because it's beyond the physical, baby. We just learned it here today, but I'm gonna have to bring you back to discuss this whole strip thing, okay? Strip club thing. Are you guys down? And we have to learn about kink talk. Well, cheers to you. Thank you for joining us for this conversation, and cheers to y'all. Thank you for being so open and honest. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about strip clubs now.